Welcome everybody to my video about the divisional altar that we use within Sanse, and it shares a lot in common with 21 divisions, which is a different lineage of Vodou found within the Dominican Republic and mostly the north of Haiti, as well as Haitian Vodou. Before I start talking about the different elements of things that make up the altar, I would like to say that when people set up altars, they need to have guidance and they need to know which loas are in your spiritual court, or some people in Haitian Vodou call it esco, the escort of loa that are around you, and you need to be following one lineage, because it's very different between different lineages of Vodou, and people start combining all sorts of things and it makes a confusion because we don't all practice and believe the same. So the loas and representations of the saint statues are also different by lineage, which ones they represent, and different spirits in the same family, say of Legbas, can have different representations as well. And so these spirits are not just picked out of a pantheon. They're personally concerned with you. They're hereditary by experience of growing up on say the island of Hispaniola of Haiti and Dominican Republic, through a family that passes down the same loa, by interacting and going to the temples and finding out naturally who your loas are, or through guidance and through reading with the priest class, is who you would start to find out which loas are personally concerned with you. So the loas that are placed here are by lineage, they are also personally concerned with you. They're not just placed there because they're loas that you've heard about, that you want to work with, or that you think that you have. Usually on Vodou altars you will see a cross near the middle of the altar, and this is also done with different nations of spirits or families or divisions. But especially for also a altar for the Rada. And you will also see food, and we have a type of food on there that can be kept for a couple months, as well as when it's active you'll see lamp or candles, as well as water in our metal cup that we tie with 7 ribbons called a tinja. And sometimes basil is placed within this water. And these are the elements that you will normally see. The colors that you will see on a Sanse altar is white tablecloth, usually, with 7 colored different bandanas or pañuelos that we call, that are used in many different ways and by the spirits, or a 7 colored fabric as well is used for different reasons. You may see an altar done in a person's loa's colors. What you're looking at in terms of color can determine what sort of lineage or spirit that they're making the altar to, such as blue and red is very common for the Ogun, the Nago Nation, and spirits such as Urzuli Dantor, because it's the colors of their spirits and their families, but also it is the national flag of Haiti, of the country. And you may see different flags, national flags, sequin flags as artwork, but also there are specific flags are used in ritual. And in Sanse and my lineage we have a flag for each family of spirits. You may see red and black, and that's more for the Petro. But the Petra also like multicolor or bright colors, sort of like carnival colors as well. You may see tools around, such as machetes, and what the Loas use when they come and mount their servitors, or what we call caballo de misterios, the horses. Or you may see some of these also kept under the altar in an adjoining closet or in another room where the spirit's taken to get dressed in their items. And you need to know the colors of the spirit in whatever lineage that you're following, because taking from different lineages within Vodou is going to make you confused, and also have guidance with this, as well as what food and drinks and what the spirits don't like as well. And the priests know how to manage these events, and it's not so simple as giving them their favorite things. What you will see is usually all our spirits go on one table in Sanse, but the Gere do go on the floor, and other mysteries are of the floor, like the different Santa Martas. Martha Dominator is just one of the Marthas, but some will put them on a chair, which is still a lower elevation beside the table. And some do have a separate room or a separate altar for the Gere. We put them on the floor. I do have a separate area behind the door for Legba, but he also goes on my table as the chief. And what you'll see with the altar, sometimes you'll see shelves or tiled steps or in a U-shaped recess. And the more elevated spirits will go near the top, such as Grand Solier, or in importance, you'll usually see the head pot near the top, at the top, and the main spirit served. And you'll also see pictures on the wall behind, or different frescoes, different murals also in the temples. And you need to, if you buy one of these saint statues, you need to bless it or have it blessed, or you can have it fixed by the priests, but it's not needed to have these statues, because we receive our pot de tete, we receive these points in ritual, or they're received through being hereditary and by living in one of these areas, such as the island of Hispaniola that houses the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Their unbroken family lineages. And in ritual also, we receive our pot de tete, like I said, or they also receive paquets within what's known as the Asan or Asogwe lineage, especially, that people now call Haitian Vodou, although there are other lineages in Haiti. We do keep them organized by where they go on the altar, and some people also in Haitian Vodou, they will keep a separate altar, a separate area for the Petro spirits, certain ones especially, or they will have a table at a 90-degree angle to the main table with the other more, say, Rada Loasas. You will see a certain number of drinks placed on the altar, either 7 or 21, or as placed as an offering to the spirits. And with our sodas, we do many things with them besides as an offering or as a bath. We do other things with the sodas themselves. And when you give an offering to the spirits, then you need to just use them for that spirit or as the spirit directs. And if you're making something for yourself, possibly to be blessed by the spirit, then you should probably use your own supply, unless the spirit directs you to, say, make a bath with their supply, because a lot of them are very particular about their offerings, and some of the food can be eaten after you give it to them to take whatever energy they like from it, but there's specific knowledge about what parts of the food you can eat or when that is allowed to take place. Some of the sequin bottles are libation bottles that people would put rum in as an offering to the spirit or perfume. But also some of those bottles are also used as spirit bottles. The spirits are also placed upon the altar according to their energy and their spiritual relationship. So usually husbands and wives are placed together, such as Ogun Balanjo and Matresali, but other husbands and wives don't get along. So you need to know their stories and how they relate to each other. Usually also they're placed together within their family, so usually Oguns with Oguns. But some also are known not to get along, such as Urzuli Dantor and Urzuli Freda. They don't hate each other, but they have a history, and it's about the energies that they represent, and they have a sibling rivalry. And if you play spirits that don't get along, then it's going to create havoc and discord not only in your life, because whatever happens on the altar is a microcosm, but also within your house and with your family. Usually the left, we reserve that for the fiery spirits, and we follow this concept on some of our other altars as well. So the Oguns and Sanse are more petro spirits, such as Candelo would go on the left. In the middle, more airy spirits, so Beli Beli Khan is fiery but also of the air, and he would be a good transition. And then on the right is the more watery and some of the female spirits, such as Matresali and the Indian spirits. Although a lot of the Indian spirits could also be considered petro because they're New World, or they also like to have an area of their own as well. So it's good to consult with someone who can help you set up a more harmonious space. Also, the spirits are placed according to other family relationship, like daughters of spirits or etc. The representations used for the loas are very commonly saint statues, especially for the Radha. For the Petro, it's not uncommon to see black dolls, especially for spirits such as Urzuli Dantor. Or you will see more in other lineages, such as the Asogwe Asan lineage, which some people have come to call Haitian Vodou, although there are lots of other lineages in Haiti. They will receive a certain number of paquettes when they become crowned, or surpoint, when they're put on point with their metet, and then when they become Asogwe, they will receive other loa and other paquettes, and these are usually placed upon the altar. However, some paquettes are also spiritual work that is going on the altar. The more elaborate or fancy an altar is does not mean it's more powerful at all. A dedicated, faithful Vodou Sant can do anything with just a cup of water and a white candle. And it's completely dependent on the strength of the relationship and devotion that a priest may have. And almost everything that we do in Vodou involves a white candle and a cup of water. One type of altar that you can commonly see, such as in Haiti, is a raised cement block, and this is usually used for ancestors as it represents earth and mimics sort of like a tomb, because originally shrines in Africa were very related to the earth and to the ancestors, and the land where your ancestors were buried, and they were not movable shrines. Also, some may also have places like this for the Gede, but it must make it clear that the Gede are not ancestors. They are the more radical, unclaimed dead that the Baron has, in a way, has recruited. And also you may see upon these ancestral altars or on different altars in Haiti, they have the Govi pots for the dead, and these are not typically used for the Loa. But the divisional table that we use, we do not place ancestors on or spirits from any other pantheon except the Loas. There are natural places where Loas reside or are called repositories, such as certain trees, certain rivers. Generally, river spirits can be approached, say, at the river or a Loa at their place that they're associated with, but there are also local and specific Loas that live in specific springs or lakes or rivers at sacred areas, as well as different altars can be made. Usually they'll have a pool or a basin that certain water spirits like, that usually like fresh water, such as for Dambala or some of the Simbis, etc. Also in the peristyle, or what we call our baji, they have a central pillar, a potometane, and not every temple does have one. Sometimes it's a circular slab or area, and this also is where offerings can be placed as a focal point for a service. When I was talking about the cross in the middle of the altar, that actually mimics the Mass table of service in the Catholic Church. And on many feast dates of the saints is when we will celebrate the corresponding Loa. And in Catholic Church, they will also set up a table for the saint, such as with Saint Joseph. You can see Italian color flag colors there. A bunch of food is placed there to be blessed for an offering to the saint, but also to feed the community. And this is more called a plaza, done up in the Loas or saints colors. And other things can be done, such as divination, dancing. It's more of a spiritual party. And other spiritual work can also be done. And also what's called a tableau spiritual can be made, which is a different type of altar that has various Loas. It might also have saints and also spirit guides on it. Is a different type of table that we make in Sanse for different spiritual events. Also, we celebrate the anniversary of when we entered the religion, much like they do in Ochalukumi, also called Santeria. They celebrate that when they made Santo, and we will make a plaza, we'll make a table up nice for our main spirits, or the spirit that we have been crowned. And this is also similar in the Cuban faith, how they make a area sort of like a throne. They call it a trono for the Orisha that they have been crowned. That's also what we will do with our altars, and have our head pots and the main spirits usually are elevated above the table this way. Speaking a little bit more on lamps, in my house we have what we call Divisional Lamp, which is used to call all the loas, kind of like the veve of the Milocan or the Minocan, to call all the different families of spirits. And this is a specific recipe in the lamp that is handed down orally in my tradition. And we use specific different types of oils go into these lamps as well. And then each spirit or family of spirits we have their own oil lamp that we know how to make. And then we also make different lamps for different purposes. Originally, there were only oil lamps and possibly white candles. And we do fixed candles sometimes. But again, all the Botanica and Saint candles are not necessary within Vodou. Originally, these are the types of materials that we had to work with. As well as some of the spirit representations might also just be a type of stone, and we don't really use gemstones in Vodou. Usually it will be a smooth, round river rock that are called otanes sometimes in the more Cuban Lukumi traditions, or what's called like lightning stones, piedra de rayo, are also used for certain spirits. Sometimes loas will direct us towards a certain stone, which then has their energy. And this also sometimes is used for ancestors and also certain stones that are found in certain locations.